Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for choosing Big Fox News. I'm Nick Smith. Tonight, the Bath Police Department now has body cameras, and officers will begin training on how to use them. It's believed that the cameras will help to provide transparency and accountability during interactions between officers and members of the community. But we begin tonight with breaking news. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison for the death of George Floyd. The former police officer and convicted murderer appeared in Hennepin County District Courthouse today to hear his fate. Camila Bernal is in Minneapolis with the details.
Job of a trial court judge.
It's the end of a chapter.
270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months.
Judge Peter Cahill announcing the punishment after a jury found Derek Chauvin guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter for his role in George Floyd's death.
But most importantly, we need to recognize the pain of the Floyd family.
Chauvin now also faces federal charges.
Derek has played over and over in his head the events of that day. I've seen the toll it has taken on him.
I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family.
Floyd's family speaking out about their loss.
What was going through your head when you had your knee on my brother's neck?
Prosecutors for the state of Minnesota had requested a 30-year prison sentence. Chauvin's defense attorney, Eric Nelson, argued that the former officer should have instead received probation and time served, or at least a sentence lower than what the law guided. But for many, it's a way to bring nationwide racial and police reform.
Do you wish that he was still here with us?
Yeah, but he is.
Through his spirit?
Yes.
The NYPD is asking for the public's help in identifying and finding 4 suspects in the vandalism of a George Floyd statue in the Bronx. The suspects were caught on surveillance video. The Floyd statue and another one in Newark, New Jersey, were discovered vandalized early Thursday morning. It came ahead of Derek Chauvin's sentencing today. In both cases, the defacements including the name of a white supremacist group. The Brooklyn bust was unveiled on Saturday for Juneteenth. The NYPD Hate Crimes Unit is investigating the vandalism. Anyone with information is asked to call the NYPD's Crime Stoppers hotline. As we mentioned at the top of the show, the Bath Police Department will begin using body cameras. And as Big Fox's Matt Kleindist reports, the move is part of ongoing police reform in the county.
Good evening, Nick. The Bath Police Department deployed their new body cameras today with the goal of increasing transparency with the public. Today, officers of Bath Police Department began training with their new body cameras. These cameras will be used for evidence during arrest, use of force reviews, and citizen complaints. The Bath Police Department was one of several precincts offered body cameras by Corning Incorporated. Back in March, Corning offered to purchase body cameras for every officer in Steuben County amid New York's recent police reform law. Corning also offered to take care of service and storage fees for up to 2 years. In a statement back in March, Corning hoped the contribution would increase transparency and progress on local police reform. Matt Kleindist, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
At least 159 people remain unaccounted for in South Florida after a devastating partial collapse of a residential condominium. Local crews worked through the night to try to find any survivors. Nadia Romero is in Surfside, Florida, with the latest.
The search for signs of life enters a second day.
We are going to work as hard as we can to continue our search and rescue effort. That is our priority.
The South Florida community waiting and praying for any positive news from rescue workers as they comb through debris from the Champlain Towers South condominium.
Right now, we're just hoping out for the best. They're obviously searching through the rubble to see if they can hopefully find some survivors.
The 12-story building partially collapsed early Thursday morning. Dozens of search and rescue workers and fire department officials doing whatever they can to find survivors.
We are pulling additional resources from FEMA to assist and to provide relief for some of those individuals.
The roof was undergoing work at the time of the collapse, but it's unclear whether that's a factor that led to the tragedy. The building was built in 1981 and contained 136 units. The nature of the collapse will make it a very slow recovery process.
The search and rescue team worked throughout the night, and it was a very active scene from above and below. And we also brought heavy machinery onto the site to assist with the operation.
Meanwhile, those with loved ones still unaccounted for, hoping for a miracle.
How from one second to the next second, a dramatic change in life. It's unbelievable.
The Chemung County Health Department will begin hosting vaccine clinics at Wisner Market in July. The health department will be offering the Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer vaccine to any eligible resident. The clinics will be held July 1st and 8th from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. No appointment is necessary. You've heard it over and over again. Get vaccinated against COVID-19. Health experts say that those who don't are putting themselves and others at risk. And now, as Britt Conway reports, it could mean losing a job or being barred from school.
The science is clear. If you're vaccinated, you're safe.
The vaccination push continues at all levels. Some businesses are requiring it for people going back to the office, including Morgan Stanley. And in December, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission determined that's legal. States can also require people to get vaccinated, at least based on legal precedent from 1905. Cambridge, Massachusetts was fining people who refused to get a smallpox shot. An area pastor sued, but the court said a community had the right to protect itself. That's what the city of San Francisco says it's doing. City employees will be required to get vaccinated. Hundreds of universities and colleges are also requiring students to get vaccinated before they head back to class. Indiana University is one of them. And now 8 students from IU are suing.
They're being stripped of their constitutional rights to make medical treatment decisions for themselves.
But an IU spokesperson says the university is confident it will prevail. Houston Methodist Hospital did after a judge dismissed a similar lawsuit brought by employees. Right now, more than 53% of people in the U.S. 12 and older are fully vaccinated. And as we face the Delta variant, which spreads more easily, health experts say every shot counts. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The vice president traveling to the U.S.-Mexico border this morning, hoping to get a better perspective of the situation on the ground amid what border agents say is an unprecedented surge of undocumented immigrants into the United States. Casey Stiegel is in El Paso with the latest.
Vice President Kamala Harris making a trip to the southern border Friday amid criticism from lawmakers in both parties who say the White House hasn't done enough to address the surge of illegal immigration. It's Harris's first visit there since taking office.
We are here today to address and to talk about what has brought people to the U.S. border, and again to continue to address the root causes which cause people to leave and often flee their home country.
The vice president's trip, including a visit to a Customs and Border Protection processing facility in El Paso and an operational briefing of what officers are dealing with. CBP says it recorded more than 180,000 encounters on the Mexican border just in the month of May. That's the most in more than 20 years. Earlier this month, the VP visited Guatemala and Mexico, meeting with presidents in both countries to discuss the economic and humanitarian issues that are driving people to flee Central America for the United States. Republicans have seized on the situation to paint the administration as weak on border security. Earlier this month, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis pledging to send his state's law enforcement to help Texas and Arizona secure the border.
So where the federal government has failed, the states are stepping up and doing our best to fill the void.
The vice president's trip here comes just a few days ahead of another high-profile visit, former President Donald Trump. That's the latest from El Paso, Texas. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
With the school year wrapping up, more families will be heading to pools this summer. And AAA of Western New York is offering parents safety tips to keep their families safe in the water. Parents are advised to avoid drinking while supervising and keep life-saving equipment nearby. Inexperienced swimmers are also expected to wear a life vest. According to AAA, drowning is the second leading cause of accidental death in children. Still ahead tonight, it's been 3 months since the shooting at the King Soopers grocery store in Colorado. Now the city of Boulder is hoping to bring back life to a place that has experienced so much loss.
What we want to do is really honor everything that the community has poured out here at this site.
More on a wall filled with blooms, where people are invited to come and take flowers to give to friends and neighbors.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Another warm day. Temperatures surging into the 80s this afternoon. Yesterday, our high in Elmira was 79 degrees, and today just about normal with highs in the lower 80s. We are expecting even warmer conditions for the weekend. However, we do have to get through a storm system that will bring the possibility of rain for tomorrow. Our dew points right now, 59 degrees, so still comfortable, but by the weekend, we're going to jump into the 60s and 70s, so it is going to start to feel a little bit sticky this weekend and into early next week. This comes as high pressure is now located in the Atlantic. It is pushing south winds right over the Twin Tiers, and so that is bringing not only warmth but also moisture, and so that's why the air feels very sticky, just that excessive moisture that will be in our air. So our dew points, again, we're in the 50s today. Tomorrow they will be in the mid-60s, and then we could get into the 70s by Monday, and that will make those temperatures feel about 5 to 10 degrees warmer. In fact, by Monday afternoon, it looks like our heat index will be between 95 to 100 degrees, so that's very dangerous heat. Remember to really check your pets and also people who are very sensitive to the heat. So keep that in mind as we head into Monday. It is going to be unseasonably warm and also uncomfortable. So if you're trying to do yard work, at least for tomorrow, it looks like lots of clouds during the day. We do have the possibility of showers and thunderstorms in the late morning into the afternoon. Highs will be around 85 degrees, so it is going to be a little bit warmer than today. But overall, with the wet conditions, it looks like maybe not the best conditions to mow on Saturday, a little bit better conditions on Sunday. However, it is going to be very hot, so take a lot of breaks. And Monday, we do have the possibility of an afternoon thunderstorm or so. So I'm calling it a fair as far as your outlook for mowing, and then on Tuesday with better rain chances. It doesn't look like we're going to have a good chance to do some yard work. Our future radar is showing quiet weather tonight, increasing cloud cover. It will be mild, a few isolated showers early tomorrow morning, and then there could be an isolated thunderstorm or two in the afternoon before this all moves out of our area. Drier conditions on Sunday, and it is going to be warmer. Lows tonight will drop down to around 65 degrees in Corning, 64 in Elmira with mostly cloudy conditions tonight. Humid tomorrow with a few thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs will be in the mid to upper 80s. We warm up into the 90s by the end of the weekend and stay in the 90s through early next week. Another storm system brings rain back and possibly cool air by Friday with a high around 81 degrees.
At the peak of the pandemic, many parents were juggling work and kids at home. As more people are returning to the office, some may be considering leaving a child home alone for the first time. Mandy Gaither has more on how to know if your child is ready and how to keep them safe in today's Health Minute.
If you're heading back to the office and struggling to figure out childcare, you may be considering leaving your child home alone. But how do you know if they're ready?
I think a lot of parents are wondering that.
While only a few states legally require kids to be of a certain minimum age to be left on their own, according to a study presented by the American Academy of Pediatrics in 2019, a majority of nearly 500 social workers believe children should be at least 12 years old before being left home alone for 4 hours or longer.
As the caregiver, you know if your kids are ready for this and if they'll be able to handle themselves should anything happen.
Dr. Stephanie Walsh with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life says first talk to your child with open-ended questions into how they may feel about being alone, then work up to it.
Start off with these short 30-minute times that they're alone and then come back and have again another conversation around it so you can get an idea what went well or what made them nervous.
Before leaving a child alone, jot down a list of things they may need, including names and numbers of people they can call, your home address, and any other important medical information.
They know if something happens, they can go grab this book, and it's going to have numbers of people they can call and any other information they might need to give 911 if they needed to call them.
And alert a neighbor.
Just so that they can be there and they can be a lookout, because it does take a village to raise children.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
It's been 3 months since the shooting at the King Soopers grocery store in Colorado. Now the city of Boulder hopes to bring back life to a place where there's been such loss. Mark Salinger shows us a wall of blooms where starting Friday, people are invited to come and take flowers to give to friends and neighbors.
The pain felt in this parking lot can't be blocked off by a fence.
Yeah, absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic.
Yet a chain link barrier helps. Helps so many come to terms with what happened here.
Flowers are such a beautiful way to express condolence.
In a space where lives were taken.
These are carnations.
Color now fills a corner of Boulder that's seen so much tragedy.
What we want to do is really honor everything that the community has poured out here at this site.
Tara Houston is a florist at Fawn's Leap in Boulder. Armed with nearly 7,000 flowers donated by King Soopers, she set out with volunteers to bring hope to a place filled with mourning.
Flowers can really lift up our hearts, give us a moment of pause and beauty, even when tragic events occur.
It's been 3 months since a gunman entered the grocery store and took 10 lives. Now these flowers spread love, not hate.
I am writing an invitation for the community to take a flower.
Allie DeJohn runs a small business in Boulder called The Makery and helped come up with the idea.
Our hope is that people will take a flower for themselves, give it to a friend to really symbolize the connection that all of us share.
We want people to touch it, to take flowers away, to bring them home, to bring them to a neighbor or a friend.
So many emotions have been felt staring through this fence. But for just one day.
It's there for a moment and then we'll take it all down.
Flowers bring a little light back to a dark place.
A year after rioters and vandals damaged more than 1,000 Minneapolis area businesses, one owner is taking steps to rebuild. Rioters burned down Floras Hair Design and other entrepreneurs are leaving the neighborhood. Mariel Mose spoke with the salon owner about her plans to stay.
You don't know how I'm feeling right now to see this. A year ago, it did not look like this. It was so much rubbish. It was so much stuff out here.
This plot of dirt used to be the home of Floras Hair Design for nearly 40 years along West Broadway, cutting and styling hair for generations of families on the north side. Until
on May 29th, 2020, my whole world like it just came down, tumbling down.
4 days after George Floyd's murder, overnight riots resulted in fires to dozens of businesses along West Broadway. Flora left heartbroken and confused over why a fight for racial justice led to the destruction of black-owned businesses.
I felt bad for George Floyd, and his family, but I still felt so I felt violated. Why are you? I have been here all these years. And I right to this day, I don't believe it was no one in my community did this.
While she grieved the loss of her legacy, she started coming up with a plan to rebuild.
I was willing to do whatever it took for me to come back. I wasn't giving up.
She launched this GoFundMe page, which quickly raised over $250,000.
It's overwhelming. I got so much support from all over the world.
With that money, she was able to buy out the other owner that she shared the lot with.
This is my land here, all of this.
On Thursday, she closed on her new lot, now triple the size of what she once owned, and completely under her name.
Giuliani, my lawyer, said, what do you want to name it? I said, Floras Land, because it never been called Floras Land, so now it's Floras Land.
Floras Land is a space that's meant to flourish.
I'm reaching for the stars.
With more people vaccinated and capacity restrictions lifting everywhere, weddings are making a huge comeback in summer 2021. According to the wedding planning website The Knot, half of the couples who planned to get married last year postponed because of the pandemic. Now most couples who were waiting out the pandemic are setting a new date for this year. Suddenly, the wedding planners are overwhelmed with 2 years' worth of couples wanting to tie the knot at the same time. Microsoft unveiled its latest PC operating system update called Windows 11 during a live-streamed event on Thursday. It includes visual improvements, a direct integration of Microsoft Teams for people working from home, and a new Microsoft Store, among other changes. Windows 11 comes 6 years after Microsoft last overhauled its operating system with Windows 10. That major update is currently running on around 1.3 billion devices worldwide. Taking a trip to Maui may cost a little bit more in the future. Residents there are considering a fee for tourists. Chelsea Davis has more.
Known for its beautiful scenery, taro patches, and locals argue the best banana bread, Ke'anai is also experiencing a visitor boom.
Our summers are normally super busy when before pre-pandemic, and now it's like double. A little bit too much. We needed that money, the income, because we lost it during the whole year of shutdown, but it's a little bit too much right now.
Healoha Carmichael, a born and raised Ke'anai resident, has worked at Auntie Sandy's banana bread stand for years. She says the influx in visitors this summer is taking a toll on their roads, limited number of public restrooms, and livelihoods.
So we had to make signs saying, this is a street, please do not park here. And then put cones in front of people's driveways because they just block. And it's frustrating for like the taro farmers. They're trying to go into their farm and people are blocking.
She, like many other locals, are happy to be back at work, but are begging lawmakers to help them find a balance.
Our small community is at capacity.
That is why councilman for the district, Shane Sinensi, is suggesting a visitor impact fee.
Places like the Galapagos, I mean, it's expensive to get there. But Galapagos, you would have to pay an extra $400 for impact fees if you're visiting the Galapagos.
He says it could be tacked on to every airline and cruise line ticket. There would be exceptions for locals. He says the goal is to create a higher level of respect among those traveling to the islands.
Making it more expensive to visit would give us maybe a visitor that would be more appreciative.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. Miami International Airport raves over its youngest traveler. The Florida airport got an unexpected arrival when a woman gave birth inside the airport. The mother reportedly landed in Miami from Chicago and was waiting for her connecting flight to Honduras when she went into labor in a restroom. With the help of the local fire department and the aviation department, the mother gave birth to a healthy baby girl and decided to name her Mia, commemorating the airport and exciting way she came into the world. And we're happy to report that both mom and baby are doing well. Have a good night.